Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am getting a haircut. It's been about 4 or 5 months since I had my last cut. Usually I wait about 6 months or more, and by that point my hair's become a lot more straggly at the ends and my layers have all grown out. Every single time I have a haircut, I'm always like, I'm not gonna leave it as long next time, and so this time I haven't. I'm going for an express haircut, so it's a dry cut in 45 minutes, no washing or styling or anything. You go in with your hair already styled, how you wear it, and then she just cuts your hair as it sits, and then you can go home and restyle it if you want to. But I kind of do every other cut is one of these ones. So my previous haircut video, which I'll link above, was a full curly experience where you get your hair cut on dry hair, then washed and styled, and then she goes in and cuts any bits that need a bit more shaping. But today I'm just getting a curly cut. So here is my hair currently. You can see my layers have started to grow out slightly, so it's a little bit less defined and a little bit flatter on this side, and here I have more face framing pieces kind of pushed over so it doesn't look as like flat. I feel like the ends, they definitely stretch out a lot between washes, so they could do with a little bit of a trim just so they bounce up a little bit more, because it can look a little bit sparse on the ends when they grow out a bit. I'll show you the back. A lot of the weight is kind of here, so I want to get these layers kind of lifted a bit to give me a bit more of a rounded shape. I'm not going to have too much cut off. I am going to get my face framing pieces cut back in a bit shorter, but it's not going to be a drastic haircut at all. I think that especially when you get to a point like me where you're happy with how your hair looks, it's just a maintenance cut really. So yeah, this is my hair currently, and it's actually raining outside, which is absolutely perfect on the day when I want to get my hair cut, but we'll see. Hopefully it holds up. I'm going to take you along with me, try and just show you what happens in the express cut. Let's go ahead. Welcome to the voiceover. So after initial consultation where I explained to Fran what I wanted, we went straight in with the cut, and I realised that I've actually never seen the back of my hair being cut, so I thought it'd be really good to film this angle. So from the back you can see that Fran is sectioning my hair to cut the perimeter and the length of my hair. The first section, which is the underneath of my hair, is also the curliest part of my hair, so for this section she isn't really adding much tension to the curls. She's basically just cutting them as they sit because they do spring up quite a lot, and she's doing a little bit of curl by curl cutting, but she's basically just making sure it's all level. Think of it like trimming a hedge. And as she moves through the sections to the top of my hair, you can see that my hair is getting gradually less curly and more wavy at the top, and she's basically just cutting around the perimeter, getting rid of the straggly ends to really create that rounded shape at the back for me. And once she's cut the perimeter to add the shape in around the back of my hair, she then moves on to the front and starts cutting the front face framing pieces, and she's just basically looking at where my hair sits, just cutting some shape in around my face. She's starting off by doing this with my hair in a side part, and then moving on to the layers, she's just cutting just a small amount of the layers. I basically want long layers because, as I've said before, I don't want to have a really big mismatch between the top and bottom of my hair. I want my hair to look full throughout, so the way that you can achieve fullness throughout with medium density hair like mine is to have some long layers, but not too many and not too short. So after cutting the layers, she's then going back in on the face framing pieces, asking me how short I want them. I said cheek length, and I really like to get my face framing pieces cut in a center part because I very often wear my face framing pieces out when they are in a center part, so it just makes sure that it's all even. And then she flips my head to each side and adds some shape like that as well, just so I can flip my part in if I want to. But she asked me to flip my head forward and to each side just so she could look at the perimeter of my hair and make sure that it was as full and rounded as possible, just to really add that shape in. She then went in and did a little refresh because there's a lot of touch in the hair when doing the dry cut, so we added some foam and then diffused my hair dry. So here I am looking at the back of my head in the mirror, and I'm really happy with this shape. Let's see what it looks like when I got home. I'm back, and this is my cut. As I said, it was a maintenance cut, so I haven't had a ton cut off, but I hope that you found the video helpful of Fran cutting my hair. It feels so soft today, so I'm gonna do a bit of a refresh and see how it springs up. but I'm really loving it. I only wanted a small amount cut off the length, and I've just had my layers cut back in a bit, so I've got a bit more shape. I've had my face framing pieces cut much shorter. I'll show you it in the center part because we cut the face framing pieces in the center parting. So this is how short the shortest piece is now, about cheek length. When you have a dry cut, your hair is all played about with and it's like stretched out and cut up here and hands all in it, so it can smooth your hair out a bit. As she was cutting it, I could see that this part of my hair was just getting so flat because I hadn't used any volumizing products today because I didn't want for my hair to be really gritty and dry when she was cutting it. And also I think it's really important to go with an accurate representation of your hair. So if I went with a load of gritty products in my hair and it made it feel coarser, I mean, she wouldn't know how my hair actually falls throughout the day. So it just shows that it just does that sometimes, and so the cut is taking that into account. Let's refresh my hair. I've got some water in a spray bottle, warm water. I'm not sure if it really makes much of a difference. And I'm gonna refresh with the gel that I used on my hair today. I'm just gonna take a bit of gel. You have to be careful not to over apply this one. It can be a tricky gel to get to grips with initially. I'm just mixing it with water in my hands. It just kind of loosens the product up, makes it into more of a jelly-like consistency, so it's easier to apply to your hair and distribute. I should have sprayed water on my hair before I mixed it all in my hands, but oh well. Fran did add a bit of foam to my hair, but I think I just need a bit more hold in my hair and grip. But foam doesn't have like a strong hold. As you'll know if you watched my previous which products to choose video, I don't want to like make my hair too wet because otherwise it's going to make it into a longer refresh. It'll take ages to dry, so I'm literally just wetting it enough to smooth the product on so the product can do its job. Sleeves up. So I'm basically just glazing the product over and then scrunching in. Now let's diffuse. So I'm beginning diffusing with the Shark diffuser on a medium speed and low heat, which is basically a medium heat on other dryers. And I'm flipping side to side, diffusing my hair, holding the dryer for about 10 seconds, flipping forward. Then I actually switched to the Curlsmith diffusion dryer because it just dries my hair so much quicker. I just didn't really want to be spending a really long time diffusing my hair, and it covers so much hair. And look at the volume as well. I always get so thirsty when I'm diffusing. Let me know in the comments if you do too. Let's shake this hair out a little. Look at some of these curls. They are absolutely just loving life. Scrunching out any crunch that we've got from the gel. On a regular wash day, I don't really get a gel cast, but when I refresh with a gel, I do get a little bit of a gel cast. And I think it's down to how wet my hair is. When I'm styling my hair normally on a wash day, it's pretty much soaking wet, but on a refresh day, it's only ever really damp. Okay, here we go, all refreshed. I have a little bit of frizz. My face framing pieces are acting crazy because that always happens every time I get them cut. They take a few washes to kind of settle in, but the volume, I am loving it. It's exactly what I wanted, just like a maintenance cut, just my hair but better basically, and I feel like that is what I've got. And obviously this is just a refresh, so once it's completely washed and it settles in after a few washes, it's gonna be even better. I've got volume on top. You can see my layers here are a bit shorter. I love when my face framing pieces are shorter because it just gives me that fake volume at the front that everyone with silky roots like me wants, because it's not really there, and that's why I love face framing pieces. Let's have a look at what it looks like in a center part as well. This is how short I've gone. I just love having some short face framing pieces. They're just so cute. I love having them out when I do hairstyles, especially because my hair is long. But yeah, this is it in the center part. I've gone for a rounded shape, rounded layers, long layers. I would definitely recommend getting a dry cut. If there's a curly hair specialist near you that offers a dry cut and you've never had a curly haircut before, then it's a really good introductory cut to that hairdresser. My first haircut with Fran was a dry cut. Now I'm going to go through some of the questions that you guys left me on Instagram. And hopefully as I'm doing that, my hair will actually settle a bit. You know what, I might put some Curlsmith hairspray on it because I use it so often. I've been using it, this same bottle, since it launched last year. I highly recommend if you want long lasting curls. So firstly, there's a lot of questions around, is going to a curly hair specialist worth it? Does it really make a difference? This will really depend on so many factors. It will depend on what you're looking for your hair, whether you are going to be wearing your hair straight and curly. If you are happy with your hair and you're happy with your current hairdresser, then there's not really any need to change it. If you're not happy with how your hair sits, if you want more volume, if you want to blend your multiple curl patterns, then going to a curl specialist can be really beneficial and can really make a difference. I have found that my hair is definitely not as flat and it's definitely a better shape since going to a curl specialist. I have multiple curl patterns across my head, so really taking those into account and like how they all sit makes a difference to me, because if you have your hair cut wet, you're pulling the hair down, stretching it, but you don't actually know how far that wet hair is going to bounce up once it's dry. If your hair is a really even pattern across your entire head, a wet cut can be absolutely fine for you. I actually know people with hair curlier than mine who prefer to get a wet cut. I just really like my results with a curly cut. It's really down to your personal preference, your budget, what you want out of your hair, how you prefer to wear your hair. How do you know if someone is really a curly specialist? I think that not everyone has curl specialist training. You can be curl confident, like confident in cutting curly hair, but there are certain like training courses specifically to teach you how to cut curly hair and certain curl cutting methods. You need to do your research before visiting someone because you want to feel confident that they're going to cut your hair. So before I booked my first haircut with Fran, I remember stalking her Instagram page because you want to be able to see that they have cut people with similar hair to you. You like the before and afters. If the curl specialist doesn't have before and afters of someone with your hair type and doing haircuts that you like, then that's probably a good sign not to go with them. Really ask them questions as well. You want to know that they're going to be confident in cutting your hair. And also I do have a full guide to curly hair specialists in the UK on my blog, so I will link it in the description bar below. There's obviously more than that list has, but that's a good starting point for you, I think. There might not be a curl specialist in your area, and if that's the case, you can absolutely still go to a regular hairdresser. That brings me on to the next question, what to ask for if you are going to a regular hairdresser. So in this case, I would definitely say take pictures with you, take inspiration pictures with you, people who have a similar hair type to you, people who have a similar curl pattern to you, similar density. That one is really important, because if you take a picture of someone with super thick dense hair and you have fine low density hair, then you're not going to be able to get the same outcome from a haircut. Say, do you think this is achievable? Would you feel confident cutting my hair like this? If you know that your underneath hair is much curlier than the top of your hair, then make sure you communicate that to them. Once they've been cutting your hair for a while, they will know and they'll get a better idea of like where it springs up and doesn't. But if it's the first cut, and they may not be able to see it as soon as you go in just for like your 5-minute consultation at the beginning of your cut. Tips for fine curly haircuts. I have very fine curly hair, but when it's long it goes stringy. Best haircut, stop this and make it look fuller. So again, it really comes down to strategic layering and cutting. So if you have fine hair, you don't want to have loads and loads of layers, especially if it's low density. It can make it look even more low density, so you might want to get a couple of longer layers, but you really just want to focus on the shape. Maybe add in a few face framing pieces to fake the volume around the top. I really find that face framing pieces can really help that. Just keeping up with your trims as well, because I find that my hair can go stringier the longer I leave it between cuts, because it can dry out on the ends and they can go straggly. If you aren't happy with your cut, how do you address it? So this can be really difficult, especially if you've had bad experiences in the past with hairdressers, but I think it's really important to try and communicate exactly what you want with your hairdresser. I really think that a good hairdresser will say to you, please let me know how it sits once you wash it, and if there's anything that like you're not happy with. So I really respect and appreciate that from a hairdresser. It may be that they've cut it absolutely perfectly fine that day, and then you've gone home, washed it, and it's just sitting slightly differently. Especially if you've had a lot cut off your hair, it can take a while sometimes just to settle into place. So give it a few washes, see what it's like then, and if not, just give them a message and just say it's just not sitting right since you've cut it, and would it be okay for me to pop back in, and just see what they say, and hopefully they can fix it for you. If you don't feel comfortable going to them, then maybe explain the situation to another hairstylist. But yeah, I'm sorry if that has happened to you, and I think that it's definitely a difficult situation, and it's definitely a difficult thing to communicate with the stylist, especially if you've had bad experiences in the past. Can you lose curls if you go too short, or does shorter equal better curls? And this will completely depend on your hair. Some people's will spring up loads, but it really depends on your hair type, and that's something that you will have to figure out through trial and error and different cuts. But you can kind of tell, so like if your hair doesn't curl from the root, then it probably won't be super curly if you get it cut very short. But it may be that having just a little bit of the weight cut off will help it spring up, because that's what happens for me, and that's what really helps my hair bounce up. Since doing that Q&A, my hair has actually settled a bit. I did actually scrunch out the crunch partway through because the Curl Smith hairspray gives a little bit of a cast, but I'm just really happy. Just a little maintenance cut just to keep my hair looking its best. You know how when guys get their hair cut so regularly that you just never realise that they actually get their hair cut because their hair just always looks the same? That's the vibe that I'm after. So yeah, I'm just really happy with this cut. I'll put some pictures here and here and here of my next wash day. I really hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that the Q&A helped you. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about haircuts. As always, if you did enjoy the video, please feel free to give it a like, leave a comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you soon. Bye guys.